Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Shots of Serenity podcast. We have amazing soul with us today, Miss Brittany Ellis, and we'll kind of maybe double back into how we got connected because we were cooking, and Brittany's like, I think you may want to press record. So we're going to start and then we're going to rewind. I was asking, how did you even get into the therapy space? You're a mom, you're a wife. I feel like you house 15 different jobs and you still look good as hell. You still look vibrant and happy. So yeah, how are you doing all the things?
Well, I'm glad that you see that in me because that's really how I feel. I feel like that's really where I'm at 33, getting into the field, trying to solve family members' problems. Like, I think coming from a substance addicted parent, siblings with like mental health issues for real, for real. And then I'm from Chicago originally. So being in a community where something feels off, but
Mm-hmm.
everyone's just going about life. No one's calling out the things. No one's saying that something feels off. When I'm asking questions, everyone's like, this is just how it is. And I'm like, five, six, seven. Like, no, it's not. It can't be. This just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And when I got out of college, I moved to Birmingham, which is where my grandmother is. She's like the matriarch of our family. And I started drinking a lot. I started managing a really popular bar, being in the nightlife. Like, I had a degree in biochemistry. I
Mm-hmm.
was working in a lab, and I kind of wanted to just be in the streets, make money, like just be social as an adult.
Yeah.
And 2018, I went to therapy myself because I'm like, once again, that feeling that I felt when I was young of something feels off, but like
Mm-hmm.
talking about it, no one's like bringing it up. When I asked, everyone's like, no, this is what we do. Like, I need some help.
Yeah.
And therapy, the lady was my therapist at the time, love her down bad, shared with me, like, you have anxiety. I'm like, damn, what does that mean? And what I thought it meant in high school, no, it was like things that the white girls took medication for.
Mm.
And so I am like connecting anxiety and a lot of these things to like privilege, whiteness, y'all don't even got real stuff to be this about. So how? So just
Yeah.
so much confusion. And I think the moment I got language for my experience and what was happening, and I was able to tie that back to maybe when my anxiety started, girl, I left there being like, I want to do what you do for people, to
Mm-hmm.
my therapist. And she really told me, like, you already got a college degree, go get your master's, and then you just are a counselor. And I'm like, and then what? And she was like, and then this, you like get clients, you sit with them, like you are a facilitator of healing. And even the word healing was still very like healing. But
Yeah.
she, like 8 months, you started therapy. Like, look where you are now. Look at what you're doing. Look how you feel. You were just on a journey of healing.
Yeah.
And that word did something to me. So sold all my things, went to Europe, came back, and I'm like, that lady told me something. I'm gonna do that. Was in grad school and I graduated. I mean, I started grad school COVID year in a virtual program at Northwestern, graduated 2023, had a baby in that time. So I took some time off. So a 2-year program ended up being like almost 3.5 years. Started a private practice last year as an intern. I'm still an intern. And then I do the 12 jobs that you speak of.
Oh my gosh. First of all, 33 and just that summary feels like, and not even really a summary, very quick cliff notes, because I'm sure we can kind of like unpack all of those things, but it seems like you've even lived so many lives. Like, how does one even from Chicago decide, like, I'm gonna go to Europe? Like,
Something my therapist helped me understand was I was moving because every 2 years at that point I was living in a different place. But like that destination happiness, that's the first time I heard of like that concept of like, if you keep chasing, if I live in here, I'll be happier. If I move there, I'll find a better person. If I live there, I'll make money. And I was doing that, but still in the same patterns every place I lived. And so after therapy, I just got this very strong um sensation to like shed. I would
Mhm.
say shed and surrender were like, that was 2018. So that was like my terms of the year. But like, why am I holding on to this stuff? why do I have all these purses and shoes and stuff? And now I'm just looking at a heap of stuff like, wow, now that I understand patterns of where I came from and how things connect, I now even look at all of my things as
Yeah.
a detachment of me when they used to be like what defined me. And I was like
Mhm.
holding on to with everything in me. It was just,
Yeah.
wow, nothing means anything. And I swear that's a really scary place to be in your 20s where you start waking up to the world around you and the
Yeah.
systems that you live in. And you're like, you understand that the Matrix, the movie was really a documentary showing you something deeper.
Mm.
And I went through like a quarter life crisis. It was, I would say that was probably the roughest time of my life for self, but I understand why I needed that roughness because what I go through right now, the roughness isn't even relative. It's a
Yeah.
whole different
Yeah.
level.
And I mean, it sounds like kind of like what we were talking about in the beginning. Things kind of like still naturally unfolded how it needed to while you were also daring to be curious and intentional.
Mhm.
And as you mentioned, someone who came, Chicago's rough. Like, not as rough as cold, too. And that's coming from someone who was born and raised in Miami. I'm like, Chicago is rough. And to notice all the different layers and complexities around you with the people that you love, but also has brought you into this world and has supported your development. And to notice like something is missing here, what is happening? That takes a lot of strength, especially as it relates to our community. And a lot of things are almost like they're generational, right? Like, even for you to notice that, like, hey, I am drinking a lot and that something is happening here, and to again be curious and decide to seek some support. And your counselor was divinely placed into your life to not only support your healing, but to create the foundation of your career and the woman that you were destined to be. I think, like you said, when you think about things like that, and then you think about like none of this matters, it does feel like this existential crisis. And I feel that I think I've been, like I mentioned, I've been in this space of like solitude and really just trying to understand like what is happening, how are these different pieces of life, how did they unfold, how did they manifest, and just exploring what that has looked like in my body. And now finally getting to a space where I'm like, I think I'm ready. Like I'm ready to breathe again. Like I'm ready to connect, because connection is so important. Community is so important. And I do understand that. I love people real bad. I love my community. I love my family. I think I've had to just learn how to retreat for protection's sake, or what I
Mhm.
thought was protection's sake. I mean, I have no regrets. It was needed, but I definitely think it's time to get back out there. And again, I think that's why I wanted to have this conversation with you, because like community builder, I feel like that is a part, one of the titles that you hold so well. And so not only are you a therapist, but again, you're a mother, you're a wife, you are an author, you are a community builder. So how did those aspects of your life unfold, and how are you holding them so gracefully while also supporting your healing?
What a question.
Yeah.
I tell you, a therapist, the what you heard, bringing meaning from that, and then that question, ooh, we chills. I just had a group of therapists at my house the other day. It was like last night, just talking, drinking wine, and it's like conversations you have with other healers, clinicians. It's a different tier.
Mhm.
I can't even.
And I need that. I so need it. I'm about to drive to Jacksonville for y'all meetings and come on back, because it really is different, and not even in like a quote unquote like boastful way, but
Yeah.
I think we're so past surface level. Like I hate
Mm-hmm.
surface. I'm awkward in social. I'm not social in like surface level conversations. Like, because where are we going with this? Like, hey, like don't ask me how I'm doing, because I'm gonna tell you. And when I ask you how you're doing, and which is actually our opening question, but this conversation is unfolding how it needs to. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Undergrad, I was a biochem double major. And so that's where my love for like research came. Of course, at that young, I'm like, I'm gonna do medicine and have a cure for stuff. Then you get a little older, you're like, wait, they got cures for stuff. They got patents on the cures. Wait, they want you to stay sick. It's not your job to. And I'm like, oh, right. Another the first part of my existential crisis at like maybe 20 before I even graduated college. So my background was in biochem. Right after that, I went and worked for a really big pharmaceutical company who I like not to name because they're always in the news and the headlines for all the stuff that they do. But I remember that even being a really sketchy place and a sketchy job. And once I left that, I knew that I didn't want to be siloed. Like that was my first aha moment that like, no, you like people. You like talking to people. You like hearing people's stories. I was asking my coworkers in the lab at the time, like little stuff, and they would be like looking at me like, girl, we don't want to talk. We're not your friend. This is a job. We're all quiet for a reason. And that's how and I was telling jokes. I'm like, these jokes are funny. Why is no one? And the one nice boy, he was awkward too, was just like, yeah, you're just in the wrong place. Like you're a smart girl, but this ain't that. And maybe this ain't for you. And you
Mm-hmm.
that is. So I left, I started managing these bars and I became a therapist behind the bar. I had regulars, people were coming in at a certain time, so like constantly talking to asking them what the last conversation we had, what did your wife say when y'all finally talked? And like, damn, your son already 3 years old. Like I remember you. So I was doing a lot of that. And I'm like, this feels like something. I still once again didn't have the language, went to therapy. She told me this is what a therapist does. And then I looked at my life and I'm like, wow, I've always been doing this work. Like I was a parent to parents very young.
Yeah.
I was a leader and a guider and a community builder within my peers.
Mm-hmm.
Real like get together, everybody put your foot in, count in the games. Like I was already doing the things. I guess I already had the tools, but then I started to have language for it. So I go to my master's program. We're living in Tampa. My mother-in-law passed, so we have to move to Jacksonville. And then it's like, boom, I'm in a new place with a new career, but I'm starting from scratch again. Like, how do I do this? So my first inkling was to network. But then I'm going to these networking events and I had just started my private practice. So now I'm in business. And the only thing that me and these women had in common is like, okay, we're business owners. But even that is a lot of small talk and like kind of transactional. What
Yes.
can you do for me? What do you do? How much you make? Who's your audience? Oh, do we align? Let's do something. Like, and I did that for the first part of 2025 because it was getting me clients and I'm making a little money from it, but it still wasn't fulfilling. And
Yeah.
all I'm thinking is like, I want to be friends with therapists, like flat out. I want them. I want to be around them. I want to pick their brains. Like I'm in supervision, but I want to talk to them about like life things and not have to always be so clinical. So the first community and group I kind of started was Girl Gang Group Therapy, and that's my group therapy cohorts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Once I learned about my own anxiety, the framework that my therapist took me through, I basically I downloaded that. Like that her way of showing me that the route that we went through did something so deep for me. And that was like really the basis of my healing work. And
Yeah.
so when in practicum and internship, I took a lot of that with me. And then I had my supervisor at the time who taught me a new way to assess. So adding those two together, I have my book here.
Yes.
Sacred
Which
self-care
we'll
came
put
up.
all in the show notes and everything for sure.
And so when I was writing sacred self-care, I was taking women on like a 10-week journey of it looks like to work with me. Like in 10 weeks, this is what we would be basically doing week to week. And when the book released, people were hitting me up, randoms that I didn't even know. Like in week 3, you said, what that say about me? Like it was a lot of energy behind that. It's like, hey, Eric Erickson said this in the psychosocial stages of development. I did not come up with this. This is just in the book.
Mhm.
But it was a lot of like, what does this mean about me? How do I take this? Like, who do I talk to this about? And I'm like, aha, group therapy came about. Because now I got 6 women who are all struggling with week 6 about that thing. And now we're processing it and talking about it. Subsequently, right after Girl Gang, the Black Author Summit, which is like a yearly event that I hold for Black authors in Jacksonville to gather. My first event last year was 10 people. This event was 60 people sold out. And so once again, another community that I started because it's like, I got questions about authorship and I got to look through all these YouTube videos and ask chat. And I'm not really a good like internet-y person. I'm one of the people who I need to call the representative and ask questions and talk and go back and forth.
Don't ask me to put it
And,
in the chat.
and they're like, ma'am, if you go to the web page and this, that, you can read. And I don't understand in that way. Like I need that. So Black Author Summit came about. And so as those two things are happening, I'm still craving, like I'm networking, but I'm craving, I want to be in a space with healers. I need healers around me. I need people who understand me because they're those type of people and not trying to be something for me because I'm a therapist. I need them to just be so I can just be in this. And then Jack's Healers was born, which is like a healing community for wellness practitioners. And it's healing for the healers. So yes, we do community stuff. And well, I had a client who passed at the end of the year, and that like took me up and through there. And that's something I couldn't talk to my dad about and my man about and my best friend about. They're just like, oh my God, that's so sad. You want a hug? Do like what
Yeah.
should what should we do? And I felt the awkwardness from them because I'm like, yeah, this is awkward for me to even share this with you because I know you just don't have the skills to deal with this type of thing.
Mm.
And the Jazz Healers was there. My yoga girl, my chiropractor, my trauma therapist friend. Like that is who I leaned into when the things of this work get really heavy.
Yeah.
Jazz Healer started out as 6 people and now it's 35 members. So, you know, what I love about the communities is they're at a point now where they're like they're their own system, right? So like they're kind of self-fulfilling in that way. And that's why it maybe doesn't feel like a weight or like I'm working another job because
Yeah.
these are just like 1/8 of me. If I'm a person made up of 8 parts, my family is probably half of that, my man and my baby. But then it's like my practice, my communities, self-care activities.
Yeah.
So hold the things, I think because I am a part of them. Like they are me. It doesn't feel like something extra I'm holding. I'm just being an author at the Black Author Summit. I'm
Yeah.
just a therapist to these people, right? I'm just being a leader to the Jack's Healers. So um that's kind of how I got into it. And those are the things. And it sounds like a lot, but I'm thinking like that's really it.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you said, it's not difficult for you, or it doesn't feel like a job necessarily, because these are aspects of who you are genuinely. And, when you show up as who you are genuinely, things kind of are in a flow, as opposed to when you gotta force it, or you show up one way and life looks different in the background. And I mean, I'm not saying that's everyone's experience, but I'm hearing like not only the reasons why you started these communities is, again, like Miss Curiosity for sure, and I think that's such a beautiful thing, but also to support yourself while you're navigating this transition and knowing that other people have the same questions. Like when you were kind of going through your book, your self-care book, and how it supported you, but to also support other people, that just naturally unfolded. Being a healer and an author and a Black author, understanding the dynamics and the complexities, you outsourced, and that naturally became a thing. And so from the outside looking in, it's like, oh my gosh, how are you holding all these different roles, if you would? But like you said, it's a part of who you are. And so when you're showing up in that way, you're naturally showing up. And I can only imagine it probably has its complexities because you got to organize things and call people and all the things. But I think there's always, complexities to everything, whether you love it or not. So
I think when you do, and I don't want to say do community right, but when community is real, that that's the key. I don't have to organize, do da 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 da, because I have community members. So I
yeah.
don't the one making the calls, doing the organizing, leading the right. I might have the vision to say, hey, this is needed. And I think by nature, I'm like a gatherer. I
Mhm.
know I make really great individual connections. I understand, okay, you guys, this, us 10, And it's like once you put those things into place, like when it's really divine and aligned, it is.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, so like with Jack's Healers, I had that vision, and maybe like 6 months into it, as it's growing, and I'm just like meeting people, I created like a founding five. So
Mhm.
5 people from the very beginning who like mesh well with the vision, understand the mission, also really love this work. And I was like, okay, now we have 6 brains growing, scaling, building something.
Yeah.
And when I need help, just believe me, I'm in that group message like, where y'all at? What's going on? Who can
Yeah.
do? Because that is what community is. But I feel so comfortable doing that because I'm actually a villager. And most people are like, I ain't gonna tap into because what? Yeah, because you might be second guessing, like, how am I helping? How do I show up to people? How do I give? So I don't even feel comfortable asking others, giving to others, doing for others. But it's like, I know already what I do. So that comfort and this a deep comfort and safety and like asking other people for help, like leadership, guidance, all the things. So one thing I'm all about is like anything that I do, it ain't just me. And I don't want it to be me leading it,
Mhm.
having the brains, operations, and everything behind it. My business is one thing because it's its own. But I
Mhm.
think for everything additionally that I add on, it's like everything needs community around it to truly thrive.
Yeah. 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 I mean, you're a visionary as well. Like to be able to see other people's strengths where sometimes people have difficulty even like seeing their own. And like you said, like instead of it being transactional, it sounds more like reciprocal, where it is like when I show up, I'm showing up wholeheartedly. And so naturally the people who also want to show up in that way will find their way to me. And I'm not gonna lie, I feel like that is what really connected me with your like your content. I think energy doesn't lie, like vibes don't lie. People can only put on a mask for so long, and you do it so well. And it sounds like one of your gifts for sure. I do want to also hold space for a part of the conversation for individuals who are like, this is scary. Like I understand the importance of community. I have times in my life where it was super beneficial, but why would you one say community is essential, and two, what would you say to the people that are scared, that have experienced hurt, especially in community?
Mm-hmm. Well, for Black people and Black women especially, I keep going back down to like the generational aspect, like the ancestral part. It is ingrained in us to need and want each other.
Mhm.
Like a really crucial need of humans as a whole is like acceptance and belonging.
Yeah.
And you can't just get that from yourself. So it's just like the same way people talking about, generational trauma, right? The bad things that we inherited. We also inherited really great things,
Mhm.
but we live in like a really Western and white place,
Individualistic.
and different groups of people move differently than African people, right? Like the diaspora of all African people. That's South Americans, that's Islanders, that's Caribbeans, that's foundational Black Americans. Like that's everybody. We all come from the same source for real. So like that is in us. So why community is like because it's ingrained in you to need it, and you really go against yourself every time you put on that. It's all me. I'm all I got. I don't got nobody. I can do this alone. No new friends. I hear people saying that and I'm like, I see a hurt person. I see somebody really scared and they're in need and they don't know how to ask or like what is out there for them. And the default is, well, if I stay to myself, I know I'll be safe. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a false sense of that's like really a false belief as a whole. So why you need it is because you need it and it's
Yeah.
needed. And for the people that are scared, I think something that we talk about like through Sacred Self-Care book is core beliefs, right? That 5 to 12, we are literally being taught, shown, modeled something about the world. And then from there, we make rules.
Yeah.
And those could be valid, they could not be valid. But then we take those rules and we move into our lives and we we put those rules into place. Like those are our belief systems about ourselves and others. So many people have been taught no new friends. People who are too friendly, don't trust them. People don't mean well, don't trust people. People cannot be trusted. So if you have that as the core of who you are, communities, of course, going to feel scary. Being around others is really going to feel scary because your body is saying, wait, we don't do this. It's something that I need, and I believe that it is not. And so I'm going to operate from that. I can't help the fear. Like, no one can help the fear. The only thing that you can do is, like, number one, I think, understand the benefit of it.
Mm-hmm.
Want that bad enough to try it. This last group that I had of 6 women, this was my first group that I put individual clients together.
Mm-hmm.
So in past groups, it's like, if you want to join a group, we kind of go through an assessment to see if you're like a good fit, you don't have any like severe mental health disorders, blah, blah, blah. Or that you've done the healing or the work before you come here. So this doesn't turn into your own individual thing.
Right.
This group was the first group that they were individual clients that I got together. And I'm having 6 conversations with 6 different women, but they're the exact same conversations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
People can't be trusted. I don't know about new friends. All of the things. Got together for 10 weeks, girl. Crying together, hugging each other. I love you, sis. Hanging out in a group chat, traveling together. All of the things when you would just say that this does not exist. This is not for you. I don't like that. I don't need that. I don't want that. Here you are saying, like, wow, I really did need this. I feel so much lighter. I feel like I'm not carrying all the things by myself. So, for those that are scared, it's like, it's scary because it's new. It's not scary because it's bad or you're
Mm-hmm.
incapable or it's not important. It's literally just scary because it's new. The same way anything else would be. Going on your first date. You want to be in love. You want a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's scary, but you're still about to go out and get that free meal. And hopefully the texts continue after the first date. You're still going to do that thing. But that takes a level of like vulnerability and surrender.
Yeah.
And that's probably the scariest part of it all. If people really see me, what would they think? What would they feel? And that's the core belief that every woman in my last group, we all kind of came to the same place of like, if I am seen, if I'm not performing, if I'm not wearing a mask, if I'm not proving my worth and showing people that I'm valuable in this
Mm-hmm.
group, and I just was myself, ooh, that's a scary thing.
Yeah.
Scary
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Brittany, you're doing the Lord's work. Oh my goodness. And it also seems like you want to. Like you're not doing this for like your own personal gain and benefit, but naturally you do benefit from it because of how you're authentically showing up. And it sounds like you genuinely want others to like get some of this, and that get some of this is like community. Like this is what is going to not only support women, um but black and brown people, and like you said, our ancestors, the premise of their life was community. We needed someone that was going to be able to hunt and someone that was going to be able to watch out, or someone who's going to be able to skin the animals or whatever the case may be, someone who's going to be able to build the shelter, and someone who is going to deliver the babies and take care of people. And I think we hear that intellectually, and we understand that maybe fundamentally, but I'm hearing you say that you give people the opportunity to put that into experience and to put it into practice. And so even if you're in your head, the way that your body and your soul is going to respond to that, you can't deny like the medicine of
Yeah.
it.
Yes. We're tribal people. Like Black people, African people are tribal people by nature. And so our society has made it so if you're so separate, then you have to pay more. You remember the times, I don't know how old you are, like what's our age difference, but there was a time where you would ask a friend to take you to the airport and pick you up. Y'all pay Uber. Friends, like, can you slide me some gas money? It's like, and once again, the world is hard and I get it. And if we're in these reciprocal dynamics, that whole what you gonna give me for doing something for you dissipates.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because there's gonna be a time that I'm in need. I'm sick. I can't leave my house. I need some soup. You can bring me food, but now you need to go to the airport and you don't want to spend $25 on the but that is made up in the soup that you got me that time that I was sick that you drove. So
Yeah.
like, I'm a lot of the young women, because primarily my clients are like, I say 20 to like 27, 28. That's my sweet spot. I love that early 20s because, like I said, I had an existential crisis during this time, and
Yeah.
I looking back now, knowing like what I needed to maybe make that a little bit more digestible. But people are like learning skills.
Mm-hmm.
We're not taught these skills.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like active listening,
Mm-hmm.
passive presence, communication, right? Talking, someone ask a question, letting them talk, maybe a follow-up question, right? Then them asking you a question and even going back and forth in conversation. Our young people are like losing fundamental skills that allow us to connect.
Yeah.
I feel like this is scary to connect because you don't have the skills. The same way I wouldn't say go on the big court with the big dogs and play, and you can't even shoot a ball. You don't even know how to dribble. It's like, wait, let's stay at the baby court and let's just work on our hands and our footwork and how these things go together. Can you do a layup?
Yeah. Yeah.
Perhaps you make it so you can get in the game, but you have to learn the skills and then you have to practice the skills. So individually, my clients and I, they're being taught the skills. They're learning how to do it, right? And then you get in a controlled and safe environment where you can practice them without judgment and also understanding, wait, everyone is learning too. Everyone is practicing this too. So now you have extra grace and compassion for the next person. They have it for you, and then you get to have it for yourself. And that is hard because in the real world, the flow doesn't actually work like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
Mm-hmm.
I So
Yeah.
like in this space, it's like you have to learn these things first. And so for anybody, like I would say to someone who's very afraid of like, I can't do this, how would I da da da? Therapy ain't always the answer, but maybe seeking some help to get to like, why does this feel so scary? And
Yeah.
working through some of like the maladaptive thoughts of why this feels impossible or too heavy to see, oh, this really came from watching my mom work, 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 be in the house with kids. I never saw her on the phone with her friends, going out with her friends, friends coming over, drinking wine. Like you never even seen it.
Yeah.
Know that that's possible. And so then you grow and feel like this is what womanhood is: isolation, staying in your house, taking care of your household and your kids, and that's it.
Mm. Yeah.
Oof. Oof.
You keep making me say your name. Oh my goodness. Something else that kind of stood out to me is like the way that you prepare and support people allows them to have that level of safety because their confidence kind of increases as well. And I know I like to tell myself like clarity breeds confidence. Like if you have some clarity and some understanding towards something, and you have the skill set and you kind of get out of like that rumination or that negative self-talk when you're thinking about the what ifs, when you have a level of preparation and you dare to try, when those two meet, it's pretty liberating.
Mhm.
And then I can only imagine naturally these women, as they of course have discernment but allow their guards to be let down, that will even translate to the black women that's a cashier at a restaurant or the grocery store.
Yes. It's like seeing yourself in people and understanding that you're actually really connected. Once your guard is down and you got that little vulnerability there, you then start extending this thing that you have, and you feel so good about that
Yeah.
that you start extending it to others.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the work. That is the work. That is the healing, because even in that seemingly small example, I can only imagine that allows said cashier to maybe allow their shoulders to roll down their back a little bit and have a little bit more space in their body, to even just have like a little heart smile that like, dang, that person was kind to me and they had no reason to be kind to me. And that is so, so powerful, especially when we have these systems that often feel like they're working against us and they want nothing good for us at all. And
Mhm.
so, my intention for this conversation was to really like spread awareness and to debunk that fear that I know that I have. But I think just so far in the conversation, it feels like such permission. It's quite literally a need. It's a basic need of ours. And when we're able to operate in that way, like all the things that are happening on the outside, we have the plugs and the connections to naturally sustain ourselves. And that equates to survival. That equates to how we rear our children and the next generation. And man, I hope people listening are really able to hear what you're saying, because you're saying a lot. You're saying a lot. Of course, the therapist in me definitely wants to hold space for the people that are like, I have been hurt in community. Although I understand how beautiful and nice and effective this is, not only have I been hurt in community, but sometimes I'm a little scared to work with other women because of my own mother and woman wounds.
Mhm.
How can you speak to that? The soft landing, a gentle return to yourself, a space to arrive exactly as you are. No filters, no performance, just presence. If you don't know, we're going to be announcing our offering dates quarter by quarter. So quarter one was so, so beautiful. Thank you for all of those who showed up, who showed out, who supported. You are greatly, greatly appreciated. And for quarter two, i.e. April, May, June, we have April 11th and 12th, which is my birthday month. And we have May the 9th and the 10th, and June 6th to the 7th. We so hope to see you there.
Like that past hurt, if you've ever heard of like the phrase "the body keeps the score," of like you take that on and you hold on to that. So like everything I'm going to say sounds easier said than done, right? Because this takes work and the work is hard, but
Right.
also staying the same, not changing, not having community is also hard. So you get to choose your heart and you hold on to something through that. You have to work through that. Like so many people I think are tied to I was hurt because I deserved it or
Mm-hmm.
because I am not good. I am not worthy, right? Like we all have thoughts, but it's like the meaning that you make of these thoughts. So your last friendship hurt. What did you take from that? Did you say women can't be trusted? Did that become a belief?
Mm-hmm.
Then if you believe that, then that is your reality and that's going to be true. And then you
And
will
that's all you're gonna see.
get you will keep finding things that make that belief even truer. And so
Right.
think about like a conversation I've been having a lot lately is like your brain versus your consciousness.
Mm,
Things are so different because the brain is literally the system that is only geared for your survival and it's going to say make sure this is safe, make sure this is right, we have to live. But we know in the world that we live in you can be in fight or flight over something this big and your body can go into that space.
yeah, yeah.
When you jump into a pool at the beginning of summer, it is really cold. In your brain, it says, cut on all the mechanisms. You get chill bumps, your teeth start shattering. Like you're like, I want to swim. I'm not that cold. It's actually fine. But your body's like, raise the temperature. We're in danger. Everybody help. Your
Mm-hmm.
consciousness says, no, all my friends are here. It's a barbecue. I'm swimming with my family. I want to swim. I love swimming. It's okay. I'm fine. And you keep jumping into the pool. And so I think a lot of women stop at my brain said, my brain did, my brain is leading me. And it's like, well, of course it is because its job is that you survive. And if you have it ingrained that bad people, friendships, women are not good, right? That is dangerous,
Yeah.
right? And to your brain, danger is life or death. But then how do we shift to saying, like, no, this is just really uncomfortable? because danger and discomfort are two very different things.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of bringing up of like how much, number one, can the body take, right? Because we know this is not dangerous. If you meet a girl and she's not nice, that hurts, right? But we're not in danger.
Yeah.
So I think my first piece of advice to people would be being able to decipher danger versus discomfort, right? We need discomfort to grow. So discomfort can be a really good thing. And going back to what are your core beliefs about the world and women, right?
Yeah.
Because you start somewhere. But I think discernment tells us that um, it can be little by little. We
Mm-hmm.
don't meet someone and like, oh, bestie, like
Mm-hmm.
friend. And that's what I talk to my young clients about. I met a girl in the bathroom. We got numbers. We went hard for 2 months of hanging out. Then I saw her true colors and she wasn't nice. And then she tried to talk to my boyfriend, da, da, da. And it's just like, how do we fall in love and love bomb someone in 2 months to where it was just like, it's everything, right?
Yeah.
How do we assess people appropriately? I think that's a part of it as well. I've had people meet me and months later, time later, being like, when I first met you, I was on the fence about you. Cause I'm asking myself, like, why is she being so nice to me?
Mm-hmm.
You have a belief that I don't deserve or people are not good. So you being good to me, why? What do you want? What are you here for? Right? The fear of just that, someone being nice to you feels abnormal. So it's like a lot of this is like people have to start checking themselves because you will so easily project onto other people your insecurity, your fear, what the last friend did to you, and they can have nothing to do about that. But if you see danger everywhere you look and you tell yourself and you really believe that women can't be trusted, people are not trustworthy, all of the things, and that is going to be your reality.
Right. Right.
It produces the contents of your beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
So when people like the universe is you in verse, what you see out in that reality that you stake claim to is real for you. And
Yeah.
the universe don't care how long you've been without a friend, how long you've been poor, how long you've been sick. Like the universe doesn't keep track of that. You then have to change and alter the state in which you believe.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I low, what do you think is going to be attracted to you? Maybe not the best of friends, maybe not the best of women, maybe
Mhm.
shiesty people, right? Where are you vibrating?
Yeah.
Elevation, true elevation and healing brings us to a space where people like that can't even be aligned to you. People like that can't even be around you or touch you,
Because
right?
they're
But
not moving in those places either, so you're not gonna find them.
oh, come on. So like a lot of the things that I've started had to come from a place, and why it's successful because it came from a place of me being different,
Mm.
me being in a different space. 2018, when all I did was drink, hang out at the bars, would work, get off at 2, go to the after hour until 5, 6 in the morning, still drinking, sleep for a couple of hours, wake up, start working. I got to get to the money today. I was so dysregulated. My system was so disheveled. And because of where I was, I just aligned with people just like that.
Mm.
So we
Mm.
all side eyeing each other, not trusting. We all not giving each other a
Yeah.
chance. We all pointing out these things, but y'all are just a reflection of actually me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
taking yourself out of that space and operating from a different state opened up new levels and new tiers of people.
Yeah.
Now assessment is so strong. It's like you can't come around me and even be crazy because I'm already like, I feel that something
Yeah.
off. Or I feel immediate love, which a lot of my really great friendships since I've been here for the last 2 years have started like that. From a genuine place of we align and we connect it and it makes sense. You get me, I get you. And now 2, 3 years later, I got, TTs, godmoms, close friends to my family, my baby. But it starts with you.
Yeah. 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 You gave a lot of examples of what discomfort could look like in community. For the individuals who have difficulty identifying what is dangerous in community, what would you say are some like examples of what danger could look like as opposed to like discomfort?
Hmm. Well, I would say body cue wise, they both may manifest the same in the body at first.
Mm-hmm.
So from a somatic approach, it's helping people understand their body of like How is your body when you are at baseline?
Yeah.
When you're operating from your parasympathetic nervous system, when you're in that rest and digest, when you're calm, when everything is going well,
Mm-hmm.
how does your body feel? Right. And maybe that's a 2 for you if we're ranking it. What changes when you get to a 5, a,
Mm-hmm.
a 7? Are your palms sweaty? Are you shaking? Is your stomach in knots? Is your chest heavy? Is your heart beating fast? Are you sweating? Right?
Yeah.
Does your breath change? So, like I would say, number one, you have to know for yourself what is happening with your body. What is your body telling you?
Mm-hmm.
Because discomfort could be walking in a room of people, I don't know anybody, and I start feeling those things.
Yeah.
Not danger, just discomfort. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to literally in that moment being like, what is the actual threat here?
Yeah. Check in.
That would be discomfort. Now, let's say I am in I'm in New York City, walking down the alley, cute mini skirt on, being catcalled late at night. I'm like, that's an extreme example, but some people are around you. You don't know where you are. You've been drinking a little bit. I feel those body sensations. What is the danger present?
Mm-hmm.
Someone could snatch me up. Maybe I could have had my drink spiked.
Mm-hmm.
I'm disoriented. I'm in a new place. There's a lot of things that are more apparent that could be dangerous,
Yeah.
right? But let's just say you're at a party, maybe a little less New York City, like on the streets with a mini skirt. That screams danger. But let's just say you go, a family friend or a friend invites you to a party, and all of the guys who are talking to you are making you uncomfortable, getting really close to you, talking in your face. You're saying no, they're not taking that for an answer. You're telling your friends, like, hey, girl, I just kind of, and they're like, you fine girl. You always say that every time we go around. So, like, boom, what is the threat present? I'm not believed. I feel uncomfortable. Guys are outnumbering the women 6-1. I'm saying no. No one's honoring my no or my boundaries. We've been drinking. There's no supervision. Danger.
Yeah.
So really asking yourself, what is the threat that is right now? Because if I'm in a group of women and it's my turn to speak,
Mm-hmm.
my body is going to do the things that says danger. But
Yeah.
what is the threat is people could call me stupid and say that I don't use the right words. They might not think I'm smart. They
Mm-hmm.
might not invite me back next time. Those things are not dangerous.
Yeah.
Those are uncomfortable. So constantly assessing your body, right? What is changing in your body because your body is telling you something.
Mm-hmm.
And then taking those internal cues, like I said, the universe is really you inverse to the world.
Mm-hmm.
So taking those internal cues and then mimicking or looking back into your external environment. What is the danger?
Yeah. Okay. Fair. So, I know I keep using the word, but that's really the premise of this podcast is a self-exploration, asking the questions, peeling back the layers. And I think that's just a healthy practice in general to assess, to ask yourself, like, what is actually happening here? Not only what is happening in my body, but what is actually happening in the setting, and having like that internal dialogue with yourself. Or even if you, I think maybe in a more seemingly safe environment, like we talked about with different healing circles and stuff like that. I think right now with social media, sometimes those communities can seem very authentic and genuine, and but they may not actually have that foundation when you get there. And so even
Say more about that, like the environments that maybe are good or
I,
not.
I think as it relates to the way that I've never been in any one of your communities, right? So I can only speak to the way that you're speaking to it now. But I think sometimes we say we want community for maybe more followers, which that may look like a lucrative in the back end. You get more money, or you're able to get more views, and you're able to do whatever. And there's been like this hype of, let's just go on retreats and let's do these like community events, or let's have these social clubs. And some of them have very, very authentic intentions, but sometimes it could be for the sense of marketing and for the sense of like, let me just have this business, and it doesn't have the foundation of true connection and reciprocity. It may be more networky, like, hey, you do this for me, I do this for you. And I'm not necessarily saying that's dangerous, because sometimes if that's what's needed in the season and that's conducive for you, then that may resonate with someone. But I'm
Mhm.
wondering, even in those spaces, how is someone supposed to differentiate between authenticity and true safety and community versus this steams and sounds good and this person is maybe well connected, and so now all of a sudden we're in a group chat with 600 members.
Mm, yeah. Well, I can't speak to like the large communities. I feel like that off rip about anything that amasses in that way or is that large, which is why I've never been like a fan of like mega churches, for example.
Mhm.
I kind of feel like that. Like, I don't like a mega church because a pastor will never know my name or have a connection to me. And I think the same thing about community. If you are an avid community goer and you may have your own intention for a community, being in those bigger spaces probably gives you more leverage
Mhm.
of a varying connection.
Yeah.
That's what I will say. So,
Mhm.
like, if something like that is for you, how you assess, I think is like a lot of the individual connections that you make in a whole.
Mhm.
That's on one side. I think on the other side of like maybe more smaller or intimate type communities, my rule of thumb is kind of that. I want a community where we know one another by name,
Mhm.
where like we know, I want to say each other's story, but like you're not just a number and a person here.
Yeah.
Like you could tell the group, hey y'all, my granddad's sick. Can y'all keep me up in y'all prayers and da da da. And the next time we see you or in that time, people gonna be asking about your granddad.
Right, right.
So I think it's like the investment that you feel that's being made into you. But of course, you want a village, you got to be a villager too. So like sometimes people come into those things and they're like seeking something and they're waiting like y'all are supposed to be giving me this because I'm in the community. What did you give though, babe? Because you brought a pot roast to a potluck. Don't make you a villager. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's just like I'm just such a strong believer of like your internal will be your ex. And
Mhm.
if you are in the mindset of coming in and looking around and being like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not
Yeah.
getting it. What is it? You're not, because what did you do? Right. And that's not saying that you have to prove yourself or work to get it, but everything in nature works from a concept called symbiosis.
Mhm.
That's a mutually beneficial relationship.
Mhm.
What
Mhm.
reciprocal looks like yesterday may not be what reciprocal looks like today.
Right.
So reciprocity can't be looked at as a 50-50. Well, I gave this, and so when am I going to get that back?
Right, right.
Either season or the time where you can be the giver, and then the season or time where that person then becomes the giver, and you can say, wow, this feels nice to kind of, right? But are you invested into the people, into the mission, right? Because that's really first. A community is like its own entity.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why I think with my communities, I am not the community. I might be the visionary or the face or the I'm like the welcoming committee.
Mhm.
I'll let you know like what's happening, what this is, make you feel comfortable. If you have any questions, feel free to connect.
Yeah.
But community is not Brittany. Community is not Jasmine. Community is like a third entity. Kind of like when two people come together and have a baby.
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
baby's not mom. The baby's not dad. The baby is love,
Yeah, yeah.
is her thing. And we then have to invest in the baby, da, 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 and she invests back into us by listening, being nice when we're out, saying I love you, giving hugs and kisses, whatever that looks like. So community is a third entity. And so when you invest in, right, see what the investment looks like back into you. Because if not, that is your sign that this ain't a community or maybe the community for you.
Yeah, yeah. I love how you broke that down. I think that provides a lot of clarity. And I think maybe the confusion that came up for me was maybe comparing what like an expo or an event that the intentions are to connect and get resources, not to, like you said, being maybe a smaller, more intimate space, then that doesn't make it wrong or unsafe or dangerous. That's the intention of said space. And so even if it is 600 members, maybe it's 600 members that are in this, like they're learning like more of an education space, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to having that kind of like that love, that connection, that partnership. And so I think that provides a lot of clarity that there's tiers, there's a difference.
Yeah, and if you if it's like one size fits all and you just use the word community, then you're gonna always be let down if you're not in the right space. Right now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a it's called business church. So my business coach has a community, and it's like 125 people.
Mm-hmm.
And through this community, right, I know her individually, so that already has me bought in because I have a relationship with the person who this is kind of around. But then through that, I am connecting one off with maybe like 7 members and 125 people who I've started friendships with, brand collaborations with. But this is a community based in business.
Yeah.
So you are in it because you're an entrepreneur full time. You're trying to look to scale, grow, market well, and you want to get other people's feedback, and you want other people to like challenge you and say, why'd you do this instead of, so like this is like an accountability.
Mm-hmm.
The wrong person gonna come in here and saying, why is everyone always critiquing my stuff?
Yeah.
Hey, we're here because we want to grow in business. So you have people kind of like coming back at you like, instead of doing it this, you should try this way. And you might be like, oh, I don't really like it. It's like, okay, cool. I'm invested in you in this community because that's the role of this community. And my communities are more group therapy, 5, 6 women, small, intimate. And then those groups of women, once they leave me, they are their own thing. And we talk a lot about how do you all sustain this?
Yeah.
How do you make sure this just don't turn into like a group of friends who go out to dinner once a month and da da da? Y'all just did a healing work together, crying, sharing trauma, all of the things. That's a level of closeness that you might not even have with your own best friend.
Yeah.
So understanding like what is the mission of the community? What is the vision? Because if it's just to connect women to eat charcuterie every once a month, you might not be filled up from that. But if the communities is like sitting down, having talks, panel discussions around mental health, around kind of a conversation we're having, because that's a little bit what Jack's Healers is. It's like then you know that that might be the community for you. But community is not one size fits all. And you do your own research before you join stuff or be a part. Ask them questions to see what that looks like. And it's another red flag if someone can't give you the answer to that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I started visualizing how you would describe like zones of friends, and I'm very honest on my podcast. I think that's my challenge. Like I have learned to like mesh almost with people and energy so much that I'm learning boundaries around that. Every community and friend does not have to be a zone one friend. Like, and so you breaking it down like that really again gives permission and provides clarity that like the space is for, like you said, accountability and growth as a business. I may not be asking you to take me to the airport. And if I do, okay, maybe, but I may not need to have those expectations. And I think that's really important to highlight as well. Like there's different zones and intentions of different spaces and different relationships. And kind of like in your own partner relationship, one person and one community does not and should not be all and everything.
Mm-hmm. And then you had to think about the expectations you have on those individuals or those people when you see them as everything,
Yeah, that's a lot.
right? You got that 6 figure friend who's always on the flight, who's always busy, deep into her business, to be like, well, I'm sick. Could you bring over some soup? She gonna be like, now, girl, why would you ask me that knowing that I got that thing every Friday? Like, airport, baby, I'm not even in town. I'm never really there. Like, you got to catch her on the. So
Mm,
that would be like unrealistic to have those expectations. So
yeah.
joining communities that align with the identities that you have is like my answer.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
Writing a book, wanting to learn more about that. I have a community for that. I also play pickleball and volleyball and be active and be outside and want to be in water. And I got outdoorsy friends for that.
Yeah,
My healing part of me with therapy and like needing help and consultation and supervision and wanting to get someone's insight on something or for my own healing, I have a group for that.
yeah,
Right. And my friends who are not a part of any of those things, we just have history, shared mutual stories from the past. My best friend from college, she's a lawyer in another city, and none of those things I mentioned is a thing for her.
Yeah.
She is just my friend of we're checking in. How's everybody doing? We're gonna come visit you. Let's take a trip. We're gonna party for the weekend. Like, she's seeing me in a different state or in a light that maybe those other groups would. But
Yeah.
it's like community, it can be endless. It can be you and your two closest friends, right? That's what a group of three. That's a community.
Yeah. Yeah. This is very freeing, Brittany, especially as mentioned, like the season that I feel like I am walking into to therapize my own self. I think, as you mentioned, what's internally, I think as an older sibling, I've had to be so much for everyone. And even just having to learn those boundaries and therapy and stuff at first, that it's grounding, and again, like a lot of permission to remember that, because I can only imagine in those spaces your best friend is not getting burnt out by hearing about pickleball business stuff in that way. And I'm sure you guys are able to touch bases and talk about those things, but it's not so weighty and so heavy where she has to be able to hear and to work through all of those things, and like vice versa. And so this a well-oiled machine is what, like, this whole conversation is feeling like for me. So thank you very, very much. And I thought it would be selfish to have that perspective with podcasting. Like, this could be medicine for me as well. And I think when I was able to shift that conversation, because I don't want to be like, oh my gosh, well, that again, limiting beliefs, well, but then I don't want to be fake about it. And it's like, no, like, as much as I really love this conversation, I think other people can benefit.
Yeah.
It was healing in what I needed this morning as well. So I really appreciate you for that
Of
so
course.
much.
And like I said, we connected through just supporting one another online.
Yeah.
I want to make sure, like, you remember the origins of our story, right?
Yeah.
Because you were sharing my things, commenting on things that my own friends and people I was around wasn't,
Mm,
right? You are a part of my community. I have a community of like online cousins, sisters, and friends. Y'all don't know each other, but it's a good 15 of y'all. I know all over the country at that.
yeah.
I know y'all. Now I have a community of people online who I know support me, who cheer for me, who look at my things, who share it, right? Like,
Mm,
I have that community, but that's me in my head, in my heart.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Y'all not in touch with each other like that. So I'll say, even when you're thinking that you're not in community with people,
Mm,
you might be, right? And I would even challenge you one step further of like where you are. If you don't see anything that feels like fitting, you don't see that thing that you want to join or you're confused about, or you're start your own.
yeah,
Go on threads. I want to be with the girlies who want to sit outside on the mat and just like share how far we're coming in said journey.
yeah.
Takes two, three people, and I love threads, by the way. If you're not out there, get on threads. But that is community.
Mm-hmm. Mm,
Bring something. Bring your favorite book to share. Bring your favorite meal to share. Bring a little board or something. Bring $5. We'll all order a pizza.
yeah, yeah,
That can be it. And you have now a community of people who like just like to sit out in the sun, maybe in quiet. Maybe I don't do nothing but just lay there
yeah.
together
Mm-hmm. It does. We don't have to overthink it.
at all. And my last thing, because I'm looking at time, I'm like, girl, we've been talking.
Uh-huh.
But I just learned about third spaces.
Okay.
Ever heard that term before? Do you know what third spaces are?
Mm,
Yeah. Third spaces are spaces where people can naturally just come to fellowship.
mm-hmm.
But the gag is United States of America. They done made everything so like everything is a profit, right?
Yeah.
So have started to organize almost like the corporation that we're under, America. And that's something that I think I'm really against in this season. Every time you want to meet me, talk to me, have access, it shouldn't cost $50.
Yeah.
In a
Mm,
in a getting dressed up nice, driving across town. Like, where are the places right? Because kind of Starbucks at the beginning started off like that. Like you can kind of come to Starbucks and sit with your computer, do some work, read a book. You might see someone else who's sitting there working, like, oh, you want to work together? Cool, nice to meet you. Now it's like every couple hours you need to be buying something.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be a patron. You want to use my bathroom? Gotta buy.
Oh
You want
my God.
to buy $9 coffee. You want to, so like third spaces are like existing less and less. And so that's something that I want to combat. I have this concept called bring and be, where it's kind of last night, that's what we did. Everybody brought some wine, somebody brought pizza stuff. They were at my house. I cooked the pizzas. Everybody played a role in that. We had what we had. Everybody spent less than $10 and we were just there together, eating pizza, drinking a couple cups of wine, but in community.
Yeah.
So how can people start congregating where the main intention and motive is connection?
Yeah.
Main intention is like, I gotta buy a ticket, I gotta look a certain way, I gotta have something prepared, I gotta do all the things. And we then start losing the aspect of what community is about, which is just like presence with one another. It's like coming together, being present and being together. That
Yeah.
and so you lose that when there's so many layers of everything that you have to perform just to be a part, which is why people feel very anxious about joining the new groups, going to the new thing, because if you look a certain way, people may not talk to you.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you don't talk in a way and present in a way, might see you as less than. So
Mm-hmm.
like I'm stripping away all of that. We about to be barefoot, have on clothes that you can be dirty in, bring something that you can sit on the floor with, and that starts stripping people of like everything that they will put on to try to show up. Because now ain't no makeup, ain't no lashes, ain't no soft beat, ain't no shoes. I don't care what shoes you're wearing because we ain't wearing shoes.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Please. I don't know if it's open to the community, but let me know when that's happening because I love a good barefoot on the grass type of vibe.
You gotta start that where you at, Jasmine, because
Yes.
you like that, there's people around you also who like it and they're looking for it, and it just may not exist in that way yet where you are. So that's
Yeah.
you thing.
We I'm gonna respect your time, but I have so many thoughts towards that, which is the event that I've been talking about. But I want to respect your time and like the intentions for today. So I don't know if we gotta link up and have a conversation after if you have the space or another time if you have the space for that, because we've been unfolding like the soft landing, which is a space where it's about 5 people that I go through like a meditation, breath work, sound healing, like some gentle movement. And even that has been feeling like marketing to get people to come. And so, like I said, I'm grateful for this conversation because I think when you take out the expectation that this needs to be quote, even how I started, like, oh my gosh, I haven't got any money from it. It's lucrative. Honestly, the interviews that I experience and the connections that I have with women, even if it's not like we're talking all day, every day, has been so profound. And I can't lie and say that it has not been more beneficial than like being able to get money from it. And so, like I said, this conversation is so we can talk all day, but I want to respect our Saturday. So I have a few 2 more questions. One of them is like you sharing your offerings and everything will be in the show notes. But for women that are listening right now who feel disconnected from community or even like unsure where to start. So even if maybe like a practical example, what is something that they can literally do this weekend, this week to kind of have that like exposure therapy and to do it scared? What is something that you can advise to them or invite them to do?
Talk to strangers regularly like it's natural. Compliment someone, a girl, oh, I love your hair. Even if she don't return it. Exposure therapy, gradual small things like micro connections.
Mm,
Find ways to connect in a small way. Look at someone and wave. Look at someone in the eye, right?
mm,
Walk with your head up, looking around at people as they pass by with a smile on your face. The people who you do know, hugging them, verbally expressing your care, your gratitude, whatever for them. Find small ways to connect. And I would say the next step of maybe finding a virtual event
mm,
that you can attend or meet up with, posting something on threads or like your social media about being afraid to connect, but choosing or wanting to do it more this year.
yeah.
Right. putting yourself out in those really small ways. The question that you asked kind of reminds me of a post that I created last week of like content creation is a direct reflection of where your nervous system is in shadow work. So like when you said, I'm not really good at marketing, I'm not really good at sometimes we have the thought or belief of like it's salesy and being salesy is bad or conniving, or maybe I'm trying to like there's so many thoughts underlying that you have about these things. So when we actually do real behaviors or different like experiments with behaviors, we challenge those things that we don't even know we believe yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so you might say, people might think I'm fake if I'm just walking around smiling, right? That's a really core belief that you have of like to be real means to be stoic and to yourself and me and not sharing with no one and not connecting. So do something small that challenges you to connect in a way that you usually don't would be a place that you can start.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. And I think again that is something that can happen today. Like you said, saying hello to someone and not having the expectation like, oh, if they don't say hello back to me, what does that mean? Like simply it was a greeting and that was out of the kindness out of my heart. I'm not asking or wanting anything back. I got a bunch of people saying hello back elsewhere.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay. Wow, wow, wow. This is such a feast and super, super grateful for this conversation and for you and the ways that you show up. You, again, you're doing God's work for sure. I'm sure that people can feel it in your communities. I will put all of your information in our show notes, but is there anything that you want to say verbally, ways to connect with you, any offerings or events that you have coming up?
Yes, I own a private practice called To Be Well Therapy. And the goal is not like this abnormal, crazy change and being a different person, is to be well, like just wellness. And that is wherever you are to be well. So I offer individual therapy and group therapy. So for women who are looking for community and the healing and like true connection, that will be a great place for you. If you're a healer, in like Northeast Florida, Jack's Healers is also a community for all of our healing practitioners. And I think overall, what I want to say to people is like, don't allow your hurt to make you hard. It's real easy to like, I experienced something, so now everybody getting cut off. I ain't trusting nobody. No one's gonna ever get a chance to do me wrong. And it's like, I get it, baby. I swear I get it. And your soul and your spirit are going to thank you for feeding it and fueling it. In the book that I wrote, Sacred Self Care, self care is not a physical aspect of making sure that you look good. It's really about your soul, right? When you sit down with your friends at brunch and y'all laugh for 2 hours and you think back on that memory and you get that warm feeling again, right? That is self care.
Mhm,
Self care is connection.
mhm,
You can't do life alone. We're not meant to. So if you find that you are isolated and that you like are craving other people, right, in a very safe and controlled way, like seek some help, have someone guide and walk you through what that looks like for you, so you can come on the other side of that being ready and feeling equipped. Because for me, therapy was so life changing, and like here I am now doing that work for others. And so sometimes it's not always about someone helping you solve the problem, but starting a new relationship.
mm,
Therapeutic relationship with your therapist is a relationship
mm.
where you get to practice stuff and have someone hold space for you and be compassionate and get poured back into. So I just wish everybody really well on their healing journey. And I feel so grateful to be here, Jasmine, and for you, because you're doing the same thing. You're doing the same thing I'm doing in your way, in your light, in your area for you. But I'm gonna challenge you even greater to like step out that bubble and do.
Yeah, yeah, I received that so, so deeply. Can you show your book again so people can be able to see it? All right, Sacred Self-Care. And like I said, I will put everything in the show notes. Beautiful, beautiful art. I love the colors. Thank you so, so much.